Hey everyone, hi. So today I'm going live with Tashi and we're going to be talking about money management. So, hello everyone, thank you for joining. We're going to talk about money management for freelancers. So, looking forward to this. I think this is a very common question for all freelancers about how to manage money, especially when your income seems to fluctuate every month. So, really excited for this session. So I'm just going to wait for Tashi to send me a request and then we can start. Okay. Yeah, so good to be live. So yeah. Hey, hi Tashi.
Hi Shreya, how are you? Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can. I'm doing
Okay,
good. How are
great.
you?
I am good. All right.
Great.
Very excited to be here talking about money management to your great community of freelancers.
Yeah, looking forward to this.
Shreya, I can't hear you properly. Your voice is a little, it's not very clear.
Can you hear me now?
Just 1 second. Just give me a second.
Yeah. Can everyone else hear me? If you can hear me, just drop a thumbs up. So I know it's all fine. Okay, great. One person has said I'm audible. That's okay, I guess.
All
Okay,
right.
great.
Yeah, I think this is better.
Okay. Awesome. Can you hear me now? All good?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Loud and clear.
Great. So let's get started.
Yes, let's.
Okay.
So, Shreya, let's talk about your journey, right? Because you've been a freelancer, you've been freelancing for a while now. How do you manage your money?
Okay, so money management, like for me, it's pretty straightforward. Like it's like just make money, just keep it in the bank, and then use it as needed. Because until a few months ago, I was a student, so my expenses were not too much.
Sure.
Anything I spend is just personal expense. I didn't really have any business expense as such. So for me, it was just all my money. It's personal money,
Got it.
and any expenses, like I knew how much I had to spend every month. My goal was to just spend that much, and that's usually how I work around it. And now I'm at home, so now the expenses as such have gone down more.
I think that's the case
uh,
with a lot of people who have moved back home during the pandemic, including myself.
yeah.
It's a joy to see my bank balance now growing because, I'm not paying rent, I'm not going out to eat and everything. I'm able to save a lot more. So that's great.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
All
I mean
right.
there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so guys, just to set some context, right? I'm Tashi and I work with Lxme, which is pronounced Lxme, as you can see. Lxme is India's first financial platform exclusively for women. Now, we get a lot of questions that, hey, why is your platform only for women? Because financial independence is important for all men and women. That being very true, however, in India today, only 33% women actually take independent investment decisions, which is a very small number. And a lot of times, what happens is that we women tend to be very heavily dependent on either our fathers or our brothers or our husbands when it comes to money matters. So, which is why there was a need for this platform to be there, which only targets women. However, when it comes to financial literacy, financial awareness, it's open for all. Of course, even men can leverage from this information. So yes, we're going to be talking about financial planning for freelancers. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments and, I'll be happy to take them up. All right. So Shreya, like you mentioned, right, that you probably just put your money in the bank account and whenever the need arises, you use it, right? So let's start with the first thing that everyone should be doing, and that is setting financial goals. So have you set any financial goals for yourself? When I talk about financial goals, people tend to have dreams, and we all have rich dreams, right? I want to buy a home, I want to buy a holiday home, I want to buy a car, I want to go on a vacation, etc., XYZ, because a lot of things money can buy. What financial goals do you have? Let's talk about dreams actually first, and then we'll translate them into financial goals.
Well, right now, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm out of college. This is like my venture now. This is what I'm doing full time. This is something that not only I depend on, it's something that my entire family depends on now. So it's much bigger. So I would say the goals also become much bigger. It's not just about trying to get through college or trying to pay the rent or something like that. It's more like trying to give the family whatever they want. So for me, in terms of money, the main goal is to increase my income, and I have like a monthly income goal that I set. Overall, I still have a annual goal rather than a monthly goal, because sometimes it's a lot in one month, and then I don't want to become lazy the next month thinking that, okay, I hit it somewhere, so I can be a bit lethargic now, whatever. So I like to set an overall goal as well, so that even if it's low sometime, I'm still working towards something that's on a bigger scale as such. And also what that does is it gives me a direction even with my freelancing career, because then I know where I'm going, like how much how much lead generation do I need to focus on, how much social media should I focus on, how many clients should I get this month or next month, how many ebooks do I have to sell this month. So all of that just becomes a factor when I just have it in mind that, okay, this month and this year I want to make this much minimum. And then think of all the different ways I could make that much, because there's so many different streams of income. Not all are vast, not all are significant, but it's something. So just trying to maximize each and every, like, the potential that each and every income source has. Like that's what's going on for me right now.
Got it. All right. So, when we actually, let's even take a step back, very interesting that you brought this up. When we talk about money management, and, it's basically, you can talk about 4 pillars, right? You have earning, you have saving, you have spending, and then you have investing. So you actually have to look at all 4 collectively in order to arrive at a very holistic financial plan for yourself. So what you are talking about, for example, right now is more to do with, say, earning and saving, right? That, okay, if this is my target and this is the money that I want by the end of the year, this is how much work I'm going to have to put in, or these are my different income streams, and I need XYZ amount from each income stream in order to arrive at my target, right? So now when we talk about once you've hit that number, all right, what you're doing currently right now is putting that money in your savings bank account, which is not really working for you. So now
I do invest. So that's, I do that as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Where all do you invest your money?
So investing is something I started pretty recently, because again, I want to make money to invest, because investment is risk based. When you're investing, the idea should be that you don't have that money to use readily. So that is why my first goal was, again, make money, save money, and then invest something that I don't need in the near future. And then when it comes to investment, I've tried few different things. Again, just recently started, and it's mainly my dad who knows how money works, for everything, anything and everything. So my parents are the ones who right now take care of the investment. Like they're teaching me how to do it, how to decide, where to invest, how returns work and things like that. So I'm learning, but for now it's something it's an automation process. It's just happening every month on its own. So I'm just trying to figure out, how that works. So,
that's great.
It's
a great thing that you started, and you started so young, because I think in investment, one of the thumb rules is that the younger you start, the more time you have for your money to grow itself, right? The longer you stay invested, the better returns you actually target. So that's great. So, okay, let's talk about a holistic financial plan, especially for freelancers, right? Step 1 is to create an emergency fund. All right. Now, what is an emergency fund? Even for salaried people, when they're actually getting their income on a regular basis every month, even for them, an emergency fund is a must. So an emergency fund is basically, as the name suggests, this is the money, this is the kitty that you have. In case of any foreseen circumstance, you may lose your job, you may not get a project for say 3 to 6 months, and you didn't really anticipate that to happen. This money is going to help you sustain for at least 6 to 8 months, right? So this is your emergency fund. And of course, how much amount should you put in your emergency fund? It should be minimum 6 months of your monthly expenses, all right, which includes your if you're paying any EMIs, rent, food, travel, etc., all of that. If you have to pay off any loans, etc. So all of this becomes a part of your emergency fund. So this is step one. This is like a must-have. So whenever you start earning, right, the minute you start earning, please make sure that you have your emergency fund set aside, and then you start working on your other financial goals. Because God forbid, even during the pandemic, I think a lot of us saw there were salary cuts. The sole earning members of the family were actually left with no jobs. So during these tough times, when you have to figure out another income stream and you don't have any income flowing, you're going to fall back on this emergency fund, right? Now, how do you build this emergency fund? Where do you keep your money? So either you can keep your money in a savings bank account. However, it's not going to grow, because a savings bank account gives you an interest of, say, 2 to 3%, max, say, 4%, not more than that. That means year on year, your money is growing by that amount. You can also keep it in an RD, which will probably give you, say, a 5%. Or you can also invest in ultra short mutual fund plans, which are basically your arbitrage or liquid funds, which are not directly related to the markets, right? So which is why these are not related to your stock market. So they target better returns than either keeping your money in a savings bank account or keeping it in an RD. So these are different ways where you can actually park your emergency fund. All right. So that's step one. So Shreya, do you have an emergency fund in place right now?
Yeah, of course.
Great. That's fantastic. Okay. Now what's step two? Step two is basically tax planning, right? Because if you're earning money, it is also very important that you try to minimize the tax that you're paying. I mean, we're all very responsible citizens, but still, if the government has actually given a provision for you to save on tax, you must leverage that, right? So there are different tax planning instruments under Section 80C. You can invest up to 1.5 lakhs and you can actually save tax on that amount. So either you can invest in a PPF or you can invest in a tax saving FD, or again, there are tax saving mutual funds. So you can also save tax by investments in tax saving mutual funds. And of course, it depends on the time period, right? So if you're investing in PPF, your money is going to be locked in for, say, 15 years. So you're looking at a very, very long duration. Tax saving FDs typically have a 5-year lock-in period. And when you talk about tax saving mutual funds, in that case, you're looking at a 3-year lock-in period. So it really depends when you need that money handy and how long you want to stay invested. And of course, all three instruments also give you a very different rate of returns. So a PPF and FD will probably give you between 6 to 7%, whereas the tax saving mutual fund would actually target even a 15%. All right. So this is your next step. Try to save as much tax as you can. Now let's come to step 3, health insurance. Because when you're actually working with a company, your employer gives you the provision for health insurance. You're actually covered. And then you also have an option to actually add a floater for your family as well. But if you're working as a freelancer, you are not covered by any employer. So you must take a very good health insurance policy, not only for yourself, but ensure even your family is covered. Because you're going to break your bank in case anything happens and you have to get hospitalized, or any of your family members has to get hospitalized. In that case, you'll then have to pull out money from your emergency fund, or break your FD, or withdraw from your mutual fund kitty, which you don't really want to do. So ensure that you actually have a good cover of health insurance for yourself and your family. So these 3 are very, very important basic things that should be in place. And then, of course, you talk about planning for your other financial goals, right? These could be long-term financial goals. These could be short-term financial goals. So any questions till now?
For me?
Anybody, even the audience.
If anyone in the audience has any questions, we can talk about that. So this is something that, all the 3 points that you mentioned, this is something that I talk about. Like, if you're a freelancer, this is a must. Mainly because I think the only idea in freelancing, of course, you enjoy it, you're passionate about it, but I think the biggest concern is usually around money. And it's not even about earning money, it's about having money and having enough money for, let's say, the bad times, or let's say for doing something like, do you want to Like when I used to talk about freelancing and money, a lot of people used to ask me, "Oh, can I buy a house with what I earn through freelancing?" So well, that's a challenge even with a job. But these are the kind of questions which will only come up when you consider freelancing, because people think that it's a whole different game. So yeah, so I think especially like having an emergency fund, especially when you're at uh, in you're young and you don't have a lot of liabilities as such, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, then you can save a lot of money, you can keep a lot of it for yourself. And someday you look in the bank and you be like, really, is this really how much I have? Because you don't realize how it works over the years. So yeah, it's just great, like try to save as much as you can, try to if you don't understand investment, if you don't understand how these things work, speak to somebody who does, because yeah, it's really something that's going to help you, as Tashi said, it's going to help you make more money while you're not really actively working. So yes, it's like, yeah, someone has a question about taxes, how to save taxes as a freelancer.
So how to save taxes, like I mentioned, there are two ways of doing it, right? First, you can make investments under Section 80C, where you can actually invest up to 1.5 lakhs in a financial year, and you get tax benefits on that invested amount. Very simple way to do is that you can start an SIP, right? An SIP is a systematic investment plan. It's a way of investing in mutual funds. So every month, if you can actually pull out a small amount and put it in a tax saving mutual fund, by the end of the year, you invest 1.5 lakhs if you don't have that corpus to invest all at once, right? So that is one way. Apart from that, you can also invest in PPF, you can invest in tax saving FDs. And also, I think if you're a freelancer, right, what you can do is you can also you can provide your business expenses, and even those you can even that is going to help you in your reduction of taxable income. So that is another thing that you can do, which is investing in business assets, or traveling for work, your food, meals, etc. All of that can get included in that. So these are some ways where you can actually save tax.
One of the interesting things is that if you pay rent, like if you pay rent, even if you live in a house but you're working from home, then you can, so you can let's say your room is like 20% of the house, 20% of your rent counts as a business expense. Yeah. So your workspace also counts.
Correct. Even your workspace goes as business expense. Yeah. Someone is asking how much percentage of money should go for shopping. Okay, Niharika, very interesting question. So, I think one very important thing is, and financial planning starts with budgeting, right? Once you budget your expenses or savings, etc., the next step is actually investing your savings. So let's talk about budgeting. One key rule that you should always keep in mind is the 50-30-20 rule, right? 50% of your income should go into your essentials, which means your food, shelter, if you're paying rent, if you have any EMIs, school fees, etc., right? Things that you can't really do without. Not more than 30% should be spent on your lifestyle, which is your shopping, eating out, going out, etc. And minimum of 20% you should be saving and investing for future. So this is a rule, it's sort of a thumb rule. If you actually stick to it, you'll be doing holistic financial planning automatically, because you have these buckets formed and you're sticking to that. So we tend to shop more when we earn more. Yeah, so when you earn more, your 50-30-20 ratio also, the actual amounts under every bucket also increase. So you can spend more when you earn more. All right, let's look at some more questions. How to manage investment, savings, emergency funds percentage-wise. So when you actually get started, right, like I mentioned, Akanksha, it is very important to first make sure that you should try to build your emergency fund as soon as possible. Once that is done, then you should start looking at your long-term and short-term investments. So savings should ideally be a part of your emergency fund only. And rest of the money that you have, you should be investing it in different investment instruments and targeting better returns. So first, focus on building your emergency fund if you already don't have that in place, and then start working on your other financial goals. So that would be the right way to go about it. All right. What else do we have? In India, which SIP I should start? Okay, that's a very, all right. So SIP, like I said, is a systematic investment plan, right? So it is basically a way of investing in mutual funds. So if you're asking which SIP should I start, that means you're actually asking which mutual fund should I start investing in. Now there are basically, Advaita, there are over 2,500 mutual funds in India today, right? And it takes a certain level of skill, it takes time, it takes effort for you to understand which mutual fund should I invest in. And all of these mutual funds are actually created for different goals. Now, when I talk about goals, I mean they're actually best suited for different timelines. Some mutual funds are best suited for your immediate goals, like I spoke about arbitrage and liquid mutual funds, which are best suited for, say, up to 1 year. So you can park your emergency fund in it. There are debt mutual funds, which are best suited for short-term goals, right? So say 1 to 3 years. Suppose, you want to go on a vacation after 2 years, or you want to invest in something for your business after 2 years. So that is going to be a short-term goal, and debt mutual funds are best suited for that. And then you have your equity mutual funds, right? Equity mutual funds are best suited for the long term. All your long-term goals. For example, a very important long-term goal is retirement planning, because at some point your income is going to stop flowing in, right? So you have to be prepared for that time. And again, retirement planning, the younger you start, the less you will have to start investing. So for example, if you start retirement planning at 25, your SIP amount would be much lower than someone who starts at 35, right? So for all of these long-term goals, you want to buy a house after 10 years. All of these, for these best suited mutual funds, are equity mutual funds. There are a lot of platforms that actually try to help you out in understanding which mutual fund you should invest in. Some of them will give you a list of mutual funds that, okay, you know what, these are the best performing basis, this parameter, these are the best performing basis, another parameter. And there are some platforms which actually create plans for you. So Lxme is one such platform where we have created goal-based plans. So if your goal is retirement planning, we have a long-term plan. And our research team has already done all the work and selected these mutual funds. So you can go to these platforms or check them out and then decide how to start. Okay, I hope that helps. All right. Okay, someone is asking about, according to you, how much should a car, bike, and house should cost based on income? I think that's very subjective. It depends on how much you are willing to sort of invest for that particular asset. But having said that, for example, investing in a house, right? You should always first try to evaluate, would it be more viable for me to rent a house as opposed to, buy a house? And you should only look at buying a house if there are different parameters that you have to evaluate. But apart from that, you should be very clear that, okay, I have no other liabilities. My retirement planning is in place. My planning for other financial goals is in place. My emergency fund is in place. After that, you can sort of evaluate that, okay, what is the rent that I'm going to be paying? How much EMI am I going to be paying? Tax benefits on EMI that I'm going to be getting. Also in terms of, how long am I actually planning to stay if I rent versus if I actually buy a house? So these are the things that you actually have to consider before you think of purchasing a house. All right. So what are the taxes that a freelancer needs to pay? So you basically, you would actually fall under the income tax slabs, which is basis the income that you're earning. And if you're earning more than 20 lakhs, then you will have to pay GST on your services or products or services, depending on what your business is.
Someone also asked if taxes are different for women. I don't think it matters what your gender is. So
no, it doesn't.
You pay as per you pay as per the tax slab based on how much income.
Yeah, as per the tax slab and your income.
Yeah.
I don't know, fortunately, unfortunately, because it's good, it's gender neutral. So we pay the same amount of tax. All right, what other questions do we have? I'm going up a little. Okay, in the meantime, why don't you take this up? There's Aisha's asking, how did you get your first freelancing project?
Oh, okay. You want to ask more questions about money? That would be great. But my first freelancing project, it was through LinkedIn. So it was because my first post had gone viral. So I got a lot of inbound leads through that. A lot of people liked the content that I'd written. So I got a lot of messages asking, like people asking me to write something for them as well. And I just said yes. And I took up projects, and that's how I found my first few clients. So just basically creating content on LinkedIn, which I talk about a lot on my page. So creating content, getting inbound leads, that's how it worked for me for 2 years. And now I'm trying different ways to, make this work.
All right. Okay, Mansi is asking, she wants to collect a corpus for her post-graduation next year. What should I invest my money in this year? So, Mansi, because you have 1 year, right? And no magic happens with investing. You need time, you need your money to be invested for a certain amount of time for you to see really remarkable results and target good returns. However, the best bets that you have is A, budget very efficiently. Of course, try to save as much as you can. And whatever money you're saving, instead of keeping it just in a savings bank account, you can probably keep it in an RD, or else try to keep it in a liquid or arbitrage mutual fund, which is the ultra short-term plan that I was talking about. So even if you have 1 year, try to maximize the target returns that you can get on that invested amount. All right. Okay, I think someone is asking about SIP and SWP. All right. So SWP is basically your systematic withdrawal plan, right? So SIP is systematic investment plan, SWP is systematic withdrawal plan. So like you're investing every month in SIP, in SWP, you can actually opt for an option where you're getting money every month as well. So your money stays invested every month. Either it could be on a lump sum investment that you made and you've opted for a SWP. So the interest that you're getting, you actually keep getting it every month. So you can use that as an additional income stream. So that is what SWP is. All right. Every tax a normal tax person. Yeah, that's true. All right. I was waiting for this. Is crypto investment worth it? So, Lxme, I mean, at Lxme, we actually did a session on investing in cryptocurrency, and we invited some, big names in the Indian industry, like from WazirX, CoinSwitch, Kuber, etc. And the whole point with crypto is that it is not illegal in India. It is unregulated in India. You can invest in cryptocurrency, but keep in mind that should be the amount of money that you're willing to gamble. Because we don't have any short trends. You can't look at the market and sort of, understand that, okay, I know that for long-term investing, if I stay invested for say 15 years, 20 years, my money is going to grow by this basis past performance, etc. So the whole point is that if you have, say, and it's up to you, right? How much money are you willing to gamble? So treat crypto investments as that. Or do not treat crypto investments as your traditional investments, which is, using other rather safe, if I may say so, investment instruments like mutual funds or PPF or FD, which are obviously more tried and tested and have been around for a longer period of time. So yeah, so that's about crypto. What about investing in gold? So, Madhuri, investing in gold is great. I think we have traditionally been investing in gold. It's considered as a great asset class. And even now it is. However, times have changed in a way that now instead of buying gold jewelry and thinking of that as an investment, it's actually very important to look at other investments, when it comes to investing in gold. So for example, you have a gold savings fund, you have SGBs, which are sovereign gold bonds, which are a great way of investing in gold. They are government backed. They are basically certificates that the government gives you when you invest in gold. So you don't have any physical gold with you, you just hold that certificate. Apart from the gold price appreciating or depreciating over a period of time, however the gold markets work, apart from that, you will also get a benefit of 2.5% interest. You can also get a loan against your SGB investment. And of course, because they're government backed, they're a very trusted way of investing in gold. So yeah, and there's of course also digital gold. You can start with just 1 gram. You don't have to buy a bullion or a coin or gold jewelry, etc. So try to move away from that traditional investment. Also, from a financial planning point of view, you should look at your portfolio being invested in gold of not more than 10%. 10% is a good number for gold investment. All right. Oh, someone is saying, why is Shreya so quiet? Shreya, why are you so quiet?
I can either listen or I can talk. I can't do both. So, yeah. But anyways, I think everyone's talking a lot about investing. So investing in this and that. If we could direct more towards freelancing, it would be great, because investment is always going to be a bit of a messy line. Like nobody can tell you, okay, this is definitely going to work for you. This is not.
Absolutely.
And,
all of this.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So like I said, I work with Lxme. Lxme is a financial platform for women. It's founded by Preeti Rathi Gupta, who's been in the financial services industry since the past 20 years. So she is actually the expert. And whatever I'm saying, this is basic awareness information that I'm giving you. Of course, I'm not a certified financial planner. So just to clarify that. But these are really the basics of financial planning, right? Now, even which mutual fund should I invest in, or in what way should I invest in gold, etc. All of these things, you at the end of the day have to do your own research. Even if you're in fact, even if your money is being invested through a financial advisor, you must ask these questions, because you should understand where your money is going. At the end of the day, it's your money. So do your own research, and basis that, start your investments. All right. Okay, I'm just going up to see if I've missed any questions. Okay, someone is asking, is real estate a good investment? I think it really depends on where you are, in your financial planning journey. Like I said, first evaluate the objective of why you want to purchase the real estate. If you want to purchase it purely, as for an investment purpose, again, be mindful and evaluate, because there are other long-term investment instruments that actually might target better returns than real estate. Understand the past, whichever place you're looking at buying the property, understand the markets, understand the past data, etc., and then take a call. All right. Okay. Okay, so Rushti is asking, so sometimes freelancing comes with fluctuating incomes. So Rushti, which is why we spoke about building an emergency fund, because there may be times when you don't get a project or you don't have any income stream flowing in. Always have 6 months of your living expenses parked aside. This is your emergency fund. Don't use this money for any other purpose or objective. Always have this parked, and in case you don't have any income stream flowing in for a month, for 2 months, that is when you're going to fall back on this kitty. So start, if you haven't already, start building your emergency fund, and you should always have this money parked. This is like sort of sacrosanct, right? You just keep it aside and you don't touch it until you really need it. Don't use it for any of your other goals. So that is the best way of sort of going around these situations. So best possible way to have a passive income through any sources of investment. I think this could be a part of the interest that you get, the returns that you basically get out of your investments. So you could look at, an SWP plan that we just talked about, which is systematic withdrawal plan. So the returns that you're getting, the interest that you're making on your investments, they could actually be added onto your income stream every month. So you can opt for that. Okay, I think this is not all. Aparna has a question which is more work related and not money related.
Okay, we'll skip those ones. Anything else relevant to the topic? We'll stick to
sure. All right, guys. Any other questions related to money management? I'm just going to reiterate myself. Very important. Number one, build an emergency fund. Actually, even before that, stick to the 50-30-20 rule, right? This is really going to help you streamline your income and your expenses. So up to 50% should be spent on your necessities, essentials, which means your rent, your food, commute, etc. Not more than 30% on your lifestyle, which is your shopping, going out, entertainment, all of that. And at least 20% you should be saving and investing for future. Next step is build an emergency fund. Very, very important. Again, keep at least 6 months for you, and depending on how many dependents you have, it could actually, the amount may vary. And if you can, then you can also go beyond 6 months, but have this money handy. This is your rainy day kitty, right? And don't use this money for any other goal. So have your emergency fund in place. Save tax by claiming your business expenses and investing in tax saving instruments. That is another important thing. You can go for tax saving mutual funds, you can go for tax saving FDs, or you could go for PPF. And then, of course, plan for your other financial goals, because that's also very important. So if you want to, like we discussed, right, you could have short-term goals, you could have long-term goals, and there are various instruments that are present where you can invest for these different goals and different timelines. And of course, get a health insurance cover. Very, very important, because financial planning is not only about investing and growing your money, it is also about getting the right insurance policy for you and your family. All right. Okay, guys, if you have any more questions, you can check out the Lxme page, Lxme official. You can also download the app. We have a community. Pratik, unfortunately, it is only for women, but you can still drop by on our handle and ask your questions. That's not a problem. So our app has a community, which is, think of it like Facebook, but for women. So you can download the app. It's on iOS and Android both. You can ask all your questions, and there are over 10K plus women who are going to help you and answer your questions like I am trying to do right now. And of course, you can also start investing with Lxme.
Great.
All right, guys, and yes, and all the best. I think being a freelancer takes a lot of courage, I feel, because it's not like there's the management is in place and you're getting the work that you have to do and you just have to deliver it. You have to source work for yourself. I think it's exciting. I think it's so encouraging. And I think, Shreya, what you're doing is absolutely great. I remember one of my friends she is a writer. And I think 2 years back, she switched to, being a freelancer full time. And I remember when I told my mom about it, she was like, what? Like, she's not going to get a monthly income now? Isn't that scary? I was like, yeah, it's scary, but she's so excited because like she has complete ownership of the work that she wants to do now. And it's entrepreneurship, right? It's great.
Yeah. It's fun.
All right. Yes, Pratik, please do recommend it to your female friends. Yes, absolutely. All right. Okay, Shreya, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thanks for joining,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.